morning and happy May 31st, everybody. Oh, May 21st. I'm so sorry, I got ahead of myself. What a great Memorial Day weekend we have. Before we do anything else, why don't we stand together and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. To recap our announcements from last night, does any council members have any announcements this morning?
Yes, I'll restate them again. This is just a couple. First and foremost, we have a flyer up on the screen. If we could put that up, Justin. This is CAP has their medication take back, and that is, the date is, I'm sorry, what date does it say? I was going to just have the date.
May 30th.
May 30th, thank you. May 30th from 8 a.m. till 2 p.m. at the Highway Yard. This is where we ask everybody to bring in their unwanted, unused medications. We're looking for our goal. We need just 300 more pounds, and we will have an actual total of 15,000 pounds that CAP has collected over the years, which is an amazing thing. This keeps it out of the hands of children. It also keeps it out of our waterways. So if you have those, please bring them on down to the Highway Yard. It's also the stop day. That's where you bring in electronics or paint cans and such, so you can get rid of all of that. But please remember to do that. Also, CAP is having the CAP March at the Pulaski Street School. That's going to be on on June 5th, 9 a.m. It's a great way to celebrate the community. The children march with their T-shirts, drug-free. It's a great activity, and it's wonderful to see the youth of the community so vibrant and so happy and so aware of the fact that they need to stay away from drugs and alcohol and smoking. Also, on June 13th, another community event. On June 13th, you can pick up, if you order online, you can go to our town website and order composters and rain barrels. And if you have one of those, if you've ordered it, you can pick it up. Again, this is going to be at the Youngs Avenue Yard from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. It's a great way to help the environment. It also cuts down on the amount of for the sanitation department of what they have to collect. So please contribute for the environment and help and order your own composter. And you can pick it up again at the Youngs Avenue Yard on June 13th. And lastly, on June 16th, still recapping about CAP, we're going to be honoring the town board. It's going to be honoring the seniors who have stayed with the CAP program through school and been mentors and helped all the other young children. I think it's a great way to celebrate our youth and our community that are so community-minded. So if we want to come out and celebrate those seniors, that's on June 16th at 6 p.m. Thank you very much, Supervisor.
Absolutely. Anyone else?
As we'll mention, the Veterans Advisory Committee has worked with the VFW and the American Legion, so we ask everybody to join us for the Memorial Day Parade on Monday coming up, and take a moment of reflection about what Memorial Day is all about, and enjoy a safe weekend. Hope to see you all on Monday for the parade.
Anybody done here? Okay. So that parade starts at 9 a.m. On Court Street, and also Memorial Day at Calverton National Cemetery. They'll be doing their normal ceremony at 12, where they honor all of our servicemen and women and their families. And the fourth before the fourth coming up at Grangeville Park is going to be exciting. And also, there's still time to apply to be part of the parade. With those announcements closing, we will open our...
I'm sorry. I forgot. I didn't want to forget. The Mosaic Art Festival is also on May 31st. And I believe that's on 2nd Street this year. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So please, everybody come out with the kids and paint the street. Thank you.
Great idea. So with that, we'll open our open session. Our first one is matters surrounding status of implementing fire marshals carrying sidearms, and an update on the formation of our HazMat team with Councilor Howard and our two fire marshals, Smith and Keating. Good morning.
Morning. Morning.
We didn't leave. We've been here since last night.
Me too.
Yeah, I know.
All right. So we got two items. I don't know. Do you guys have a preference which one? All right. So we'll go with the firearms thing. So as you know, we're already sworn peace officers under the CPL, which gives us an option to carry firearm under our pistol permit. Basically, all the other agencies in Suffolk County are already doing this, with the exception of us and... Oh, you got that?
Yeah, I got that too.
So I have an assessment here, just so you can see what agencies are doing. On the county level, we're currently working on updating our arson control plan, so a lot of this kind of plays into that. Obviously, the reason why we want to do this is because we go to these fire scenes, we're tasked with maintaining the security of the fire scene for the volunteer fire department, but we also do the fire investigation, which oftentimes leads to the discovery of a felony crime being committed, which kind of puts us in a vulnerable position. So I just kind of laid out for you guys some of the motives for arson: revenge, financial gain, excitement. Could be another crime somebody's trying to conceal. Sometimes it's a murder scene that they think they're going to get rid of the evidence by setting the house on fire. So we're the first ones in to discover this kind of thing. And we are peace officers. We do have arrest powers, but we currently are not armed to enforce our peace officer status.
Greg, did you want to add to this?
Yeah, so in connection with implementing this as one of their standard pieces of equipment, we're developing procedures and policies for use of force, having the firearms, the training requirements, dealing with officer-involved shootings and how those would be investigated, I think it says personnel complaints, and the equipment policies related to firearms and holsters, and the use of handcuffs or other restraints. So basically what we did was we looked at some PD policies, we looked at some state policies, and also other fire marshals policies, and with Liam we've been sort of combining them and coming up with something that we think will be workable for us. I've reviewed those policies with our outside labor council, and they are being circulated to the CSEA because the fire marshal's office are part of the CSEA, so they need to review the policies first as well. Once we think we have a pretty solid, almost final draft, that'll be circulated to the town board, and hopefully at a future town board meeting, if the town board is comfortable with it, we'd be proffering a resolution to implement those policies.
Are all fire marshals peace officers?
So in the assessment, you see there's some towns that aren't.
No,
So
I mean here in Riverhead.
in Riverhead, yes. Yeah, so our new guy still has to go through the training, but myself, Liam, and Jordan all went through the Peace Officer Academy that's conducted by the Sheriff's Office.
Let me just ask you a question. You guys are great, so don't take this personal, but when we do police officers and we understand they're going to carry firearms, we go through psychological testing and other things of that nature. Are you guys willing to go through those same testing, but does that risk
So
any current job position and so forth?
So right now, that's not a requirement, civil service. However, they are contemplating adding that as a requirement for the fire marshal title, but it wouldn't be made retroactive to the fire marshals that currently hold the title.
Right, and I think the reason why they don't do it now is because under the CPL, we carry under our pistol permit. So when you go to do the pistol permit application, they kind of vet that. If we were to move to carry under our shield, that would probably be something that we would mandate as a requirement.
So when you say that, to clarify the difference from a legal standpoint, so you're taking your own liability, or is the town picking up the liability?
The town, we would still let our insurance carrier know, and it would still be part of our policy, but they're carrying under their personal pistol permits. So there is an aspect of personal liability there as well.
So is this concealed, or this is open
No,
carry?
it would be open.
Proficiency testing? You'd be doing yearly
Yeah.
firearms testing?
Yep, we would go with the Suffolk County Sheriff's Office. They offer that service to us. And right now, we do refreshers for our peace officer cert anyway, where we go to the sheriff's office and do like a one-day class, use of force, all that stuff. The only difference now is we would have to qualify with our firearms.
Right. And every year you'd have to do that.
Yep. And that's all written into the policies of Liam. He went pretty thorough with everything.
I just have one point, just following up on Councilman Rothwell's point. Why not make it retroactive? Why not make the psychological testing for all individuals? That he's talking about moving forward, that there would be psychological testing. Is that correct, Mr. Howard?
No, that would be a civil service determination
Okay.
based on the way they qualify someone for the title.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm not understanding the distinction. In terms of, right, with the police department, you do have to go for a psychological examination to carry. I understand the difference with the pistol permit.
You go through the psychological in connection with getting on the list to qualify for the title.
And that's not just for carrying a firearm, that's for all other aspects of the job. Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Just, of the incidents in these other towns where they're carrying firearms, have they gone up? I mean, do you have examples of
So
incidents?
I know that a couple weeks ago, one of the Brookhaven Fire Marshals was attacked by a gentleman. Other than that, I don't have any like real statistical data on it.
It's curious.
Can I ask, would you think of maybe as an alternative tasers, carrying tasers?
So we thought about that, and Southampton does that, but the problem you run into is if you have a taser and someone else has a firearm, you're not in a good position. So part of what we're doing is we're going to have less lethal, so probably OC spray or something like that, because you don't want to just jump right to pulling a firearm. You want to have a less lethal option, ASP, OC spray.
I don't know, my concern with, especially being on personnel, hiring other people in the future, that would automatically, once they have the peace officer title, it would kind of make me feel uncomfortable knowing that the person that we're hiring, that we're technically letting them have a firearm without any kind of psychological evaluation.
Yeah, I spoke with Ashley about this a little, and I did some canvassing of the other towns. None of the other towns do it. I'm not against it at all. I just, what I came back with is it was because of the CPL and the pistol permit requirement where they vet you for the pistol permit itself. That's why they don't do it. But I don't see a reason why you couldn't.
I don't want you to feel that I'm meaning this towards you, but thinking about the future, once we implement it, we don't know what that looks like down the road. And I would feel more comfortable if there's some kind of way that we are able to put in place that there has to be a psychological evaluation. I mean, we're talking about a weapon, something that could take another person's life. That's not to be, taken lightly. It's a very serious thing.
Yeah.
I think with the psychological, you have to look at both sides, so I understand that, it's a protection mechanism for you guys to carry, but I also just want to make sure that, and again, not directed towards you, think of 20 years in the future, mental capacities, suicide rates, things like that. These firearms are we issuing them, and we determining exactly the types of these 9mm, and who's purchasing the firearms, who's issuing them.
So this is something that we budgeted for, yeah.
What would they be?
Town issue.
Glocks?
Glock 19s is what we're specking out.
So if we're purchasing the firearms and we're issuing them, why are they doing it under their own personal carry?
Because the CPL says that's how we have to do it.
Requirement, yeah.
As a peace officer?
So right now, the sworn police officers carry under their shield, and their shield essentially replaces the pistol permit. Okay, so when they go through the process of interviewing and vetting to become a police officer, that's where you get the psychological evaluation, and that's in connection with all the duties that go along with that. And then you get the shield, and you basically surrender any pistol permit that you have, and all of your firearms, your town issued firearms, your personal firearms, are all covered under that shield. Because the fire marshals under the CPL carry under their pistol permit, every firearm that they are carrying has to be associated with that permit. So any firearm issued by the town, they would report in connection with their personal pistol permit to the sheriff's, the Suffolk County Sheriff. And the Suffolk County Sheriff is responsible for all the vetting that goes into issuing them that permit in the first place.
Now, how will we distinct between on duty, off duty? So is it something in which if you're gonna carry, you're carrying, you guys are on call, so now you go
Right.
home and it's 6 o'clock and there's nothing happening and you walk into 7-Eleven and there's an incident, just, God forbid, like how are we doing that coverage? So are they on duty, they're solely on their own, but are
If
they
we
gonna say
carry
we're
off
on
duty,
call?
it'd be under our own concealed permit.
But what about if you're on duty, if you say,
Well,
state
then we're
that
covered
I'm on
under
call
this.
tonight and I walk into 7-Eleven and I'm attacked,
Yeah, I mean, we are sworn law enforcement, so we do have a duty to act regardless of whether we're armed or not. It's part of the New York State, law and requirements. So whether we're armed or not, it's still the same, requirements for us. Again, if we are working, it would be, like the chief said, we would be under our, our working purview. If it's not off hours, it's under our own concealed carry permit.
Could you tell me about the insurance? Now, what happens to the insurance for the town covering this?
Yeah, I'm waiting to hear back quotes from our insurance broker. So we'd be looking to cover 4 fire marshals.
Are there instances now where you're waiting for a police officer to show up so you can go into a situation?
So the big difference is like where the fire line is, you don't generally see the police department inside the fire scene. We are actually going into the building and things like that. So, there's been times when I've interviewed somebody like be on the fire scene and then realize something's not right. I got to go back and get a police officer. But if that person's irrational or something, I may not have that luxury.
Well, I think this is a lot to think about and a lot to consider. Appreciate you bringing it here for us to look at. I don't know what other questions people have. I think some of the questions that we presented, Eric can get back to, and we can circle back to this and
Sure.
let's have another conversation.
Okay.
So thank
All right.
you.
You want to move on to HazMat?
Yep.
Liam will lead this. He's been working very hard on this response plan for us.
So in coordination with some of the police officers attending some training, which we are in the process of getting started again since the Center for Domestic Preparedness was closed for a bit. We're trying to formalize the Hazardous Materials Emergency Response Plan, which is kind of the benchmark or the cornerstone to the team and how it operates based on state regulations, OSHA regulations, and NFPA standards. So this is kind of a synopsis. This ultimately is the document, 50 pages of front to back. If you guys want copies, I do have it. It's just a little bit easier to make it a little bit more succinct in this response plan. The synopsis. So basically it goes over the regulatory requirements of the HazMat Emergency Response Plan. Some of the specific, under the HazMat plan, you need to identify local hazards, what those might be, and how you're going to identify mitigation of those. It goes then into establishing a couple of different response levels based on how the team is activated. One being the lowest, handled in-house with the Fire Marshal's office or the fire department, and then 4 being a multi-jurisdiction incident. And then obviously the prioritization of life safety and the incidents. It identifies us as a type 3 team. There's type 3 through 1, 1 being the most highly equipped and staffed. Type 3 would be what we're going to be going for now with type 2 capabilities. That's most of the teams within the county, and we all operate under the county as a whole organization to operate together as a type 1 team for the region. So that's kind of how we get equipment and materials from the county through grants through the state. And then it just kind of goes through how we do hazard assessments and decontamination operations, public alerting, incident commands. It just is really a roadmap to any sort of incident that might take place, and then under a unified command structure with the fire department, the police department, and then the HazMat team themselves. We have went over this plan specifically with each of the fire districts and their chief officers, for which we're looking for feedback. We have kind of had just some conversations about it thus far, but they have a copy of the draft plan. So if they have any questions, they can reach out to us on that. And then kind of moving forward, we're just, again, coordinating with the standard operating procedures, incorporating it into our office's policies. how the team would work, the response-wise, and then once we get up to the staffing level that we're looking for, we'll be able to, with the town board approval of the plan and otherwise, be able to start doing some training with some of the team members. So that's kind of where we're moving forward, and this is just an update.
We've been getting equipment for the last couple months, so we're pretty good. The county surplus those trailers for us, so we had them re-lettered, say Riverhead Town Fire Marshals on them. We'll be able to use those for response to get it off the ground. Eventually, we'd be looking to get some kind of apparatus, but we gotta be able to get money for that. But we're good to go. I'm pretty sure we meet all the type casting requirements.
All the new vehicles can tow them, the trailers?
Yes.
All our trucks, we spec our trucks to make sure we can tow those trailers.
Just that over with.
Yes.
You might leave your bumper behind. The back of your truck.
It seems like we needed this for a long time already.
It's been a long time. I think I've mentioned it before, the prior Fire Marshal Bruce Johnson put together a plan back in 2005, and it didn't really take off. So we kind of worked off that model and made adjustments where it needed to be, and I think we're in a good spot.
Great. This is really good stuff. Keep working, keep pushing for it.
You guys put a lot of time and effort into
Yeah.
this, so thank you very much. Very thorough too.
Helping the town be prepared. Thank you.
And the grand side of things, working with the county, so thanks.
Joanne wanted to say one thing.
Can I see one of those packets?
Yeah, of course. I've got these for everybody. A little light reading, you guys are.
Okay, just out of curiosity, you include the waterways, so would you be on, do you need that floats?
Thank you.
So if there was like a spill or something in a waterway,
That I got you.
Like the fuel at that gas station that time.
we have some capabilities to like boom up a leak or something like that in the water and kind of control it until we can get somebody there to do the actual cleanup.
I'll give you the number for the Navy.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Our next open session matter is matter surrounding proposed amendments to site plan review procedures with planner Matt Charters, who was just up there. Hello, Matt.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. All right, so what will I hope be very brief today. The board recalls we've been working on amendments to site plan review and other sections of the town code dealing with the planning department since the fall of last year. We presented this all at a work session back in March and went to the planning board, so we have made some final tweaks to this just to make the process a little bit clearer and easier for people. If the board's aware now, we have a 3-step process: pre-submission, preliminary, final. We're looking to just go to pre-submission and then straight site plan, so final approval. Within site plan, we do have 2 other, I would say, subversions of what is considered a site plan. We have de minimis approvals, and then we have what is now called administrative approvals. The existing de minimis approval section is not very telling about what actually could be considered de minimis approval. If you look in the section I sent you, so it's on page 4 of the code amendment, it says amendments which do not materially affect the external appearance of the building or site, replacement doors or the like, so it's carried out for limited maintenance or improvements with minor alterations.
You're on page 4, what section?
Page 4F of the code. So if you go to the 4th page of that, letter F is where it's de minimis. So it speaks of carrying out of maintenance and minor alterations. So what this amendment does is sort of beef up and make much more clear what's actually de minimis. Let me show you, Bob.
I'm on page 4, there's no F, so maybe I have a different version than you do.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, I was going by the numbers on the
4th
page.
page.
This is the 5th page, according to this. Okay.
So this just sort of beef up and clarifies what's actually eligible for de minimis. So there's a nice long description in this middle part that tells you how you can get to de minimis approval. It's really at the discretion of the department administrator if you meet the qualifications. So we'll either have to tell you, yes, this can be an admin, or no, it can't, and then direct you to what version of site plan you'll need. The actual applications that are covered, so that's I, so that's subsection 1, and then 2 and 3. So they're amendments to existing site plans that are involve very minor alterations. So that's 10% or 1,000 square feet, whichever is less. changes to parking that are 10 spaces or less. Just real staff level admin stuff that, for lack of better terms, is not really worthy of coming to a board, or we can handle in-house rather than going through a whole public hearing process, getting them onto agenda, just to make quick changes which make sense. That's not to say it's only us that are looking at it. These would still be subject to our traditional referrals that are called out in the code, so if it has to go to the state, county, SHPO, town engineer, ARB, LPC, that's all still happening. And then the second change that's in this section is just to change what we are calling administrative approvals, which are really not administrative at all, that either go to the town board or the planning board for a one-step approval process with no public hearing. Those will be called expedited, because they are expedited and not administrative.
I think that's important, because you have applicants that, come through quite a bit, and you know their work ethic, you know what you're looking at already, and, to keep holding up these projects for as long as they sit.
And sometimes it can be very, very minor improvements that need to take place that then you're beholden to either the town board schedule or the planning board schedule. Things come in at weird times of the month, so then they're waiting sometimes 2 or 3 weeks just to be heard. This makes easier things that are good, easy to achieve.
From all the plans that you see, would this cover 10%, 20%,
It's hard to say, but it's helpful when someone's doing a minor change. Say they have a use change that they need 10 more parking spaces for, and they can accommodate those 10 parking spaces within an existing parking area. That would be captured without having to come to a board to say like, oh yes, you have room for the parking, so you can do the parking.
So maybe what takes 4 years might take 2.
Hopefully a month.
Wow, now I'm really impressed. Great.
So it's for the small stuff. So if the board's comfortable, I'd like to add this in for public hearing, and with these will be the rest of the site plan changes, as well as removing fees for subdivisions, CAC, and ZBA. Just take those out of the code, and then we'll be able to adopt our fee schedule, which increases all the planning division fees, which I think is a good thing, because we're a little bit behind on that.
I think it's great.
Good?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
About 20 years late, but hey, better late than never.
I'm going as fast as I can. Thank you.
Our next item for open session is with Councilman KERN, Bob Castaldi, Gary Hygom, matters surrounding downtown parking related to the Peconic Hotel. Gentlemen, if you'd like to join us.
Morning.
Good morning.
Guys.
I couldn't get all your stuff on the agenda because I got it this morning.
Oh, that's okay.
So
It's all right.
So I think there's a couple of things you want to discuss, but we didn't. So Bob,
Yeah.
we ask if we could stick to the parking issue. I guess you want to lead that?
Sure, that's fine.
We got some concerns about parking. When we have show, we've been selling out, thanks to Gary, and we've got that parking lot loaded, plus Main Street from Roanoke all the way to McDermott. So I'm all for Joe's Hotel and the Plaza, but we're concerned that the parking issue is going to affect us in a bad way.
So with that, and that's why I suggest you just speak with Dawn. I'm sure there's something that can be worked out with that. But so I would speak with Dawn and see, and then come back on that particular issue.
But what's the solution or probable solution? We're packing those parking lots right now. And I don't know, maybe people may walk a wee bit in the summertime, but if it's wintertime, mostly our crowd is over 55, 60. They're not taking a hike in winter or the rain. So we're going to have a problem.
Well, I'd like to ask, I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
Dawn Thomas is not here today, and this has been put on at the last minute. I just don't think it's fair that she's not here today to discuss this.
Yeah, I really think that
I don't know why this is added immediately like this.
Yeah, and it's not a matter of not being fair. I mean, I've let Dawn know about this. I had asked you to call her. So, because I know there's been talk about trolleys and stuff like that. So I don't. I can't speak for her or what she's got in the works.
I spoke to Dawn about that, and you know, we dump out somewhere between 450 and 650. Okay. So if you run a shuttle, and I'm assuming it would be here at the town hall, it's going to take you approximately 10 minutes to load up, 10 minutes to get here, 10 minutes to unload, 10 minutes to get back to the theater. I don't know what a bus holds. I'm taking a guess. It's 30 people. 2 buses, that's 60 people an hour. We have a lot of people, 600 people, and it's winter time. I don't know if that's going to work.
Well, I just want to point out that you have a apartment project, correct?
Yes.
And you don't have any, you don't have any parking for that as well, right?
That is true. And
So
that's
that's
why
something to consider.
the parking garage is going to be the answer to Riverhead's parking problem.
That is the long-term answer, and we're working towards those
Yes, we
goals.
I got it. But in the meantime, until it's, which is another issue, because I spoke to the architect who I worked with on the Suffolk Theater. Even if the parking problem with the hotel and the theater, that can be worked out, when the parking garage goes up, that's going to be disruptive too, to that whole back area. So I had an idea, and I just called up the architect to see if I'm crazy or if I'm halfway smart. And I said, would they be able to do, if I was doing it, I would take a section, let's say that parking lot is 400 by 100, I'm guessing at it. Take a small section of it, disrupt that area 20 by 100, put in the foundation and the basis for the columns, and then move to the next one and the next one. And now the foundation's in. Then come in and build it like an erector set, where you do section, 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 section.
And you're saying that you think you're going to be able to park while you're building that in those areas? I don't think you're going to get that close to a construction site.
Yeah, I think.
You know, precast concrete.
Right.
It's gonna be
How
quite
many,
a distance.
how many stories you going up?
Well, we've also
3.
just rehired our parking consultant, and this is all going to be addressed with him as well.
Okay. He said, yes, there's a way to do it.
Well, I think,
I mean, I used to do a lot of work in 5 boroughs, and logistically, that's the worst place to put up everything. And I've seen how they've done it. They've put up 50-story buildings, you know, taking up just a little room on the sidewalk.
Do you want to build it?
No. He wants to design it. My architect said, sure, I'll design it for him. No,
You're running a theater now.
Huh?
I said you're running a theater now.
And that is one of, just to weigh in a bit, and you know my views on this, we've talked about it before, but that is one of my big concerns is when that, things are happening to me out of order. And a parking garage going in after the fact, and that the better part of that lot being inaccessible for the better part of at least a year, is going to be devastating at that point. Now we have a hotel, we've got new businesses, everything is functioning. Our parking positions have been cut in half, and now we're building a garage. That's the longer term concern of mine. So I don't know that there's an answer to that at this point, but it's something that
That's a good
does
point.
need to be considered, because that time period in building will be devastating to everyone.
It will shut us down.
So if you do it in a modular way, right? So let's
It
say,
can be done.
yeah. So let's say you get 2 stories up, right? So to address, because what's on the ground is on the ground, man. So you're only getting the 2nd story. Now you're doubling what's on the ground, and actually a little bit less because you've got roadways inside. So if it went up 3 stories, I mean, there's something to really consider for all the businesses down there. If you go up 3 stories, let's say we're going up 5, but you get 3, you're accommodating what was there and a little bit more on the ground.
It's not when it's done, it's when it's being done that is the problem.
Well, I think like a lot of things we've talked about at town board meetings, there's a lot of concern over, and everybody has questions, and that's why you're here today to pose those questions to us, and we appreciate your partnership with that. I don't think it has shut you down. I think that you guys have a viable business that you built, and I believe in you. I believe you're a marquee. Everybody sitting here does. And so I'm thankful that you're at least addressing those. Like Denise said, I think she's our liaison to that committee, and she can take those concerns back, and we have to continue to listen and make sure that we're aware of them, and then we can bring further things to it. So, I've always said everybody has an idea how they do it differently, right? We'd all do everything differently. I'm sure that's what makes us unique and individuals. But together, and you're the macro of the micro of the small businesses downtown. So I think you coming and sitting here, it helps us to stay aware that parking is going to be something we need to be cognizant of the whole time. So
Thanks for opening a dialogue.
yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. I think
Yeah,
that's the way.
as long as, we know how to try to work around it, we'll try to work around it. We've come too far you don't want to lose the momentum.
Absolutely.
You want to keep it going and do that. The other thing I wanted was,
Before you shift on that, can I just make a comment?
Sure.
I think that long term, that the Suffolk is going to benefit by everything that is happening downtown, probably the most of any entity down there. When people want to go somewhere, they're willing to walk if they really want to go. And I always use Newport as a prime example. Newport packs out. You have to walk to get downtown. There's no parking. You offer a good product, people will find a way to get there. Currently, I go to the theater a lot. I never have a parking problem. Sometimes I know if it's a packed out show, I'm going to go downtown, park earlier, go walk somewhere, have dinner, walk back to the theater. My car's right there ready for me to leave and go home. There's always avenues of finding ways to get to where you want to go, especially when you're in a walkable downtown.
Of driving pedestrian traffic down there. I mean, you see in Theater 3 and even West Hampton Beach, West Hampton did a beautiful, revitalization effort down there. But, parking is often at a distance, but it also gets them to pass many other retail restaurants. I'm not saying that we want to make your patrons walk, but I'm just saying in a downtown setting, it's, large parking lots, situated on Main Street don't drive, pedestrian traffic and foot traffic and things.
you're right.
But it is one of the, because, I talk to our clientele continually, and it is probably one of the number one draws to the theater is the convenience. They don't like going to Patchogue because of the parking problems. They don't like going to Theater 3 because of the parking problems.
But they still
That
go.
is, they're coming to us now. And look, I think we need to start the dialogue and move forward, but the answer to me is not, which has been kind of a drumbeat, is you've got to swallow this bitter pill. It's going to be great when you're done. My issue is, can we make it? We're a business. We're functioning on financial. Can we? It's not a matter of, well, we'll just deal with it. It's, can we afford to deal with it? And can the other businesses in town afford to deal with it, waiting for the glory days of large parking garages and a flourishing Main Street? What will the repercussions of that 1 year period of business plummeting
Can
or
I-
potentially?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to speak over you. I just think, just because we're talking timing and everything, when are you planning on completing your apartment project?
Well, that goes to item number two.
Because we're talking about
We'll jump
parking.
we'll jump right over to item number 2. My understanding is that you have the money, or there was a grant given to the town to put that water line in to facilitate the parking garage and also the extension on the theater.
That's it. And before you go further, Dawn needs to be here for that because she handles the grants and she would have the answer to that.
Well, my understanding is, assuming that my assumption is correct, if you've got the money for the water line, why don't we put the water line in. I mean, it would be kind of silly to dig a hole and throw a whole bunch of money in there and put up a building and then not have water for a year, 2 or 3. That would be financial suicide.
Again, I think that's something to bring up with Dawn.
I will.
I think it's a good point, but she needs to be here to answer that.
Okay.
Yeah, we can definitely circle back to that, or you could reach out to, that office individually as well. I know that they're always willing to do it. So, but the parking, like I said, you're the macro of the micro of everybody. So I think that's something we're aware of, cognizant of, even the construction, parking, and thank you for coming in and bringing it to the forefront and starting the dialogue.
Absolutely.
That's what this is about.
I got 1 or 2 more things.
What's that?
No,
I
have
think,
1 or 2 things.
is it related to the parking? If it's related to the parking lot?
No, it's related to well, kind of, but not. It's related to the alleyway, to the parking garage. Somewhere down the line, that's going to be the main thoroughfare. Everybody's going to park and go down to the town square and go to Main Street. And it's 8 foot wide. The town's got a 4 foot right of way over it. And it's been there's been a problem when we get bad snow. There's no place to put it. Even if I went out and bought a snow blower, it'd just be banging off the side walls. And if you go forward, you'll wind up 20 feet with a 40-foot high wall of snow. I understand that there was some money again, and I'll talk to Dawn about this, about a grant to do something with lighting and make that main thoroughfare a lot nicer than it is. And what I was thinking is that the lighting design, whatever it is, and I don't know, but if we put a cover over it, there's a lot of problems. I mean, we live with it, That water comes down that alleyway. You can go whitewater rafting down there. That's how bad it is. And then it gets all over Main Street on the sidewalk and the street and freezes. If we were to cover that with the slope of the alleyway and put 2 6-inch drains down, bust up the sidewalk and tie it to the sewer where it winds up anyway, that eliminates all that ice on Main Street, all the ice assuming that it's clean, all the ice in the street, and all the ice down the alleyway.
So with that,
And also, it would make it a lot easier for people in the winter, and it's pouring rain. They've got a coverway that goes from the parking lot right down to Main Street. You don't mind getting a little wet, you just don't want to get a lot wet.
I just, because I needed the entire list, so what I would do, right, is we'll get on, that's a meeting with Ken Testa and a meeting with Dawn.
Okay.
And to Dawn on the grant side, Ken Testa on the engineering side. We'll set that up.
Okay.
Brilliant. Just so because you had contacted me during the wintertime, and Ken Testa drew up the GIS, and that's not our property, so it's shared by you
it's
and
not.
the adjacent owners.
Right, we are the owner.
The liability of us, and they haven't plowed that or shoveled that out, he said it's been 15 years, because it's not our, so.
Right. That's why I think a cover, if there's a grant, and we can cover it, it would solve a multitude of problems, and it's only 8 by 150. It's, 1,200 square feet. And then put the lighting underneath there. I mean, interacting lighting. There's so many great things. I mean, it's going to be, it's not going to be the main attraction, but it's going to be the main thoroughfare to get to Main Street and the town square.
Well, I think it sounds like there's some things you want to circle back to. And
Worked in Vegas.
There you go.
In fact, the alleyway, CDA came up with funds to do the alleyway on the south side of Main Street. So that's just about done. They're just waiting for the electric to be hooked up. Everything else is installed.
All right, so the next steps are how do we set up
I think that,
that go through?
I think to talk to Ken Testa about that. I mean, you have, it sounds like you have, and then to circle back to our CDA if there's help there. Speaking to your neighbor, if it's a shared, shared.
No, Mike Butler's a good guy. I own to his building. The town has a right of way 4 feet off of his building. So, and I've spoken to Mike. I think he would love to have. I don't think he'd have a problem putting in a ledger board along his building.
Well, I think that, like,
You should really sit down with Dawn and the CDA, and they could potentially look and see what grants are available.
That'd be great.
But I mean, you can start the discussion on the project. It's an interesting project. It'd be good to have Coverage Way.
And lighting.
I think the CDA, well, definitely, you need lighting, obviously, but the CDA is the department for you to really sit down and.
Okay, will do.
Yeah, set up a meeting with Mike and yourself, right, Mike Butler. We'll get a meeting. In terms of the engineering part, if you own the alleyway, then, the engineer could, you own the alleyway, so that's gonna be something if you wanna put drains in.
Bring the co-owner in and sit down with Dawn and look on a joint
Yeah.
project.
I don't think Mike would have a problem. I mean, we've spoken about it a lot, he shares that alleyway, he doesn't own it. But we've spoken a few times about, why don't we do something here, make it look nice, and, I mean, his
Very
people.
interesting lighting project, to kind of give you like
That
a
would be
little.
great. My architect also said he's been thinking about it too, so, he said he'd love to do that too, get involved in that. He's a real creative guy. Okay.
well, thanks for bringing the parking in. I think that's something to keep constant. I mean, I know something we always have dialogue about. So, thanks, gentlemen.
Great, thanks for your time.
Absolutely.
Pleasure. See you all soon.
Sorry for the stuff.
See you at the shows.
Folks,
But yeah, I think Bob had just
I don't know who's who, but.
he just said so.
Way I'm addressing the drains. Already made a call, number one.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Number two, there's a map up there, which I'm gonna submit to the entire town board, which has, you see the lines intersecting the roads, so that's.
Crosswalks.
Yeah, the crosswalks, that's what they represent, and I have, in touch with.
Dawn's been working on the,
I started this about 3 years ago. So when it go, and it's gonna go back as far as Michael's Liquors, which is the really, really, really dark spot, and just to put yellow lights on the blinking lights, and we'll see what state has, in terms of the Broughton or however, whatever the latest technology.
Things I'd like
is.
the
Florida,
bid.
they actually light up the crosswalk when you're going to cross it.
You push a button and
Yeah, and
and it's lights, the lights flicker back and
No,
forth.
we had one of our patrons was hit in the crosswalk after a show.
And after the show, we were
Thrown.
All right, so I just want to let you know that, okay?
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, ladies and
Thank you
gentlemen.
guys. Thank you for your.
Great day.
See you at the show.
those crosswalks though are part of the, smart streets.
Some of them are, but the thing about it
The
is,
one by Michael's isn't, but I know for a fact that Dawn's been addressing that and working on it,
And
and
I've
she has
spoken to
told
her.
you that.
and I've spoken to her about it, and the thing about it is, if it does get narrowed, if we get approval for that, it's a wire. All they do is just move it. They're gonna move the sign anyway.
So with that, we will just take a motion to end our open session and go into executive session to talk about contractual matters surrounding an agreement between the town of Riverhead and the Riverhead Housing Development Corp. With Councilman Kern and Councilor Howard. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, see you tomorrow.